We talk a lot about self-care, self-worth in our conversations. I see you post these amazing stories, and that's how I actually found out. I remember once you posted one of my videos and I was just like, oh wow, like I just felt very humbled and touched. But you share so many other people's, and I think you do such a great job of encouraging creators like myself as well in sharing that.
Oh, thank you.
And not just me, and I know you share plenty of other creators as well, which is so beautiful. And when I started to see that, and I see that on your stories all the time, like it's either true or a true statement, right? It's either true or a true statement. And I love that. And I've commented back so many times and said, oh, I'm really glad you posted that, whatever. When did you kind of get to that space in your life where that became a priority? Like when did you come to that and you were just like, my self-care and this journey of self-reflection are important to me now? Like when did you get to this space of everything you're sharing now?
Well, I've always been a writer. I write a lot and I journal. I write a lot, mainly for myself. And then I love it. It's so therapeutic. I did a lot especially when I was going through my divorce specifically, and it was so therapeutic for me. You're just even able, it's like a release. And sometimes when you write something, you either see how important it is or how silly it is to you at the same time, but it's out of your system and you could burn it, do whatever. And then I used to write, I would post a quote and then write a large caption. And it's before I had as many followers, and some people would tear it apart so much that they took out like the real meaning of it and they would make it into whatever they were feeling. And it wasn't what I was feeling. So I just chose to stop doing that as much because it kind of ruined it. Or like the blogs would create things. I'm like, but you took the beauty out of it. That wasn't what it meant.
Right.
But not everybody is as deep or as they just want it to be salacious and something way worse than it is. But I also started seeing how much people were craving some sort of guidance, if you will. And not that I'm that person to go to, because I'm still figuring out my life. We all are. We're still just human beings and we're going to make mistakes and live our life. But I'm okay with sharing my failures because I'm secure enough in just me being a person. I'm still figuring it out. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing every day, but I just realized what a positive reaction I would get when I would post something encouraging to other people. Or I would go on strangers' pages and just be like, oh my gosh, I love your freckles. And like what that would do. I'm like, that's crazy that just being kind gets so much positive feedback. Like that should just be normal. I think we're just used to people bullying each other. And if someone, like I would never go to someone's page to criticize them. That's just not who I am. I wouldn't waste my time. If I felt something, I'm like, oof, why would I even think that about this stranger? Who am I? I would go to someone's page to encourage and uplift. But I think in today's day, we're so used to people going to pages to be these, computer bullies and let's just talk about people. But I mean, they're really struggling in their own life. And that's the only reason why they're acting out like that is because they're feeling that about themselves or whatever. And they're just trying to project it to somebody else.
Yeah. And I love how what you just said now, it's almost like it transforms your feeling towards them into kindness too, because you start recognizing where they're coming from and what they're going through to make them that way.
I think it's just created, it's interesting in the world that we are in. It's either the more you're exposed to, you see a lot more negativity and it's disturbing and disgusting to me. But instead of me becoming bitter and evil about it, I've chosen to become more self-aware and I have more empathy for people. And I never want to change that. I think if anything, it's given me more empathy because I'm like, oh, I feel really bad for you.
Yes.
And I feel bad that you can't also understand that I'm just living my life. I'm not perfect. I am doing what you're doing we're just trying to figure it all out. But if we're all a little more understanding and kind to one another, it would make our trials, tribulations, ups and downs that much easier.
Yeah.